Chapter 1. Collision and Transmigration. The aroma of instant noodles lingered in the air as Liz closed the final chapter of The CEO's Frozen Heart. Her eyes stung from hours of reading on her cracked phone screen, but her heart ached for the heroine, Eliza, who loved too hard, too long, only to be shattered in silence. 3 years of marriage and he never gave her a single smile, Liz muttered, tossing the phone aside. What kind of tragic masochist nonsense is that? She leaned back on her apartment couch, exhaustion sweeping over her like a wave. A part of her pitied Eliza, but another part wanted to scream at her for not letting go sooner. If it were her, she would have walked away, lived her life, loved herself. But that was fiction. Liz had her own reality. A day job she hated, a food blog she loved, and not enough hours in the day to build the life she dreamed of. Outside, rain painted the windows with streaks of gray. Her head throbbed, but she still had to get up early. Tomorrow meant another pitch meeting with her grumpy manager. She grabbed her keys, a headache pulsing at her temples. Just a quick run to the store, she told herself, slipping into her coat. The last thing she remembered was headlights. Then darkness. Liz jolted awake with a strangled gasp, heart racing. She wasn't in her apartment anymore. The smell of antiseptic clung to the air, but this wasn't a hospital. She sat up abruptly. Silk sheets. Antique furniture. A golden-framed mirror. A room far too luxurious to belong to her. And yet, oddly familiar. Her hands trembled as she reached for the phone on the bedside table. Not her phone. A different model, sleek and expensive. The lock screen showed a picture of a man. Her stomach dropped. Alexis too. Her brain short-circuited. No way. This can't be happening. But as she turned on the camera and saw the delicate, pale face staring back, her breath caught in her throat. Eliza, she whispered, recognizing the heroine's face instantly. She scrambled to the vanity and stared into the mirror. Same long lashes. Same deep-set, hopeless eyes. Her body, Liz's body, was gone. She wasn't Liz anymore. She was Eliza. It took hours for her to stop shaking. Bits of memories began flooding in. Not hers, Eliza's. The lavish wedding. Alexis' cold gaze as he put the ring on her finger. His words echoing in her mind, "Don't expect love from me." The silence. The loneliness. The 3 years of one-sided devotion. Desperate touches. Ignored glances. Tears behind closed doors. Liz clutched her head as Eliza's final memory crashed into her mind, drunkenly celebrating her resolve to give up on Alex, and the sickening thud of her head hitting the table's edge. That's when Liz's soul took over. That explains the timing, Liz murmured. The original Eliza finally let go. And I took her place. It made an eerie kind of sense. She had read the story to its end. Eliza eventually left Alec after years of cold rejection. He fell in love with her only after she was gone. But now the story had changed. And Liz had no intention of being another heartbreak victim. She sat alone in the vast dining hall the next morning. Eliza's new memories guided her through the morning rituals. The housekeeper greeted her as usual. No one seemed to notice anything odd. Alex didn't show up for breakfast. No surprise there. But Liz was done playing the clingy wife. She folded her hands on the table, calm and resolute. "I'm not going to love him," she whispered under her breath. The words settled like a vow in her chest. For Eliza. For herself. She stood, her silk robe catching the morning sun, and headed toward the kitchen. Her fingers itched for something familiar. Something real. She opened the cabinets, scanned the shelves, and grinned. At least some things in this world made sense. Flour. Eggs. Sugar. If Alex wouldn't eat her love, he could watch her feed the world instead. Chapter 2. A Marriage of Ice. The clink of porcelain echoed sharply through the dining hall. Liz sat at the head of a long mahogany table, a single untouched cup of tea cooling before her. A grand chandelier sparkled overhead, but the room was drenched in silence. She had always imagined luxury would feel warm, elegant, comforting. But here in Alexis Tsu's mansion, wealth felt more like an icicle pressed against her spine. A housekeeper moved quietly through the room, placing a covered dish on the table. Madam, Mr. Tsu left early for a meeting. He won't be joining you. Of course he wouldn't. Alex hadn't joined her once since the wedding. Thank you, Liz said politely. The woman blinked. Polite responses weren't something she was used to from Eliza Chin, who had a reputation for emotional outbursts when Alex didn't show. But Liz was not Eliza. She uncovered the dish, omelette, toast and grilled tomato, but her appetite had withered with the chill in her chest. This wasn't just a cold marriage. It was an arrangement, a prison wrapped in silk. 3 years of this. She thought bitterly. No wonder Eliza lost herself chasing him. Liz took a sip of tea. The bitter heat grounded her. She wasn't going to cry. Not for Alex. Not for anyone. Later that morning. The house was too quiet. Liz roamed the halls, letting her fingers graze the edges of oil paintings and polished vases. Every room screamed opulence and absence. In the main hall she found Eliza's old phone and sat on a velvet chair to scroll through her gallery. Every photo was of Alex. Candid shots of him working, sleeping, standing near a window, even blurry ones from afar. She winced. Girl, you really had it bad. Then she found a folder named Recipes for Alex. Curious, Liz opened it and her breath caught. Eliza had once tried to cook for him. Simple meals. Cute plating. A cake shaped like a cat. All with captions like, "Hope he likes this today." And he smiled at the sauce. I think. But the timestamps told a story of defeat. The last entry was over 2 years ago. Liz closed the folder gently. I'm sorry you hurt so long, she whispered. But I promise you, from now on I'll live for both of us. She rose, brushing imaginary dust from her lap. It was time to stop being Alexis Tsu's invisible wife. That evening, the kitchen was off limits to Eliza. Liz decided that rule no longer applied. The chef gawked as she walked in. Madam, do you need something? Yes, she said with a calm smile. Your kitchen. I beg your pardon? I'd like to cook something. The chef blinked as if she'd spoken a foreign language. Madam Eliza, you've never. I'm not Eliza, Liz said almost out loud. She cleared her throat and softened her tone. I know I haven't before. But I'm bored. Let me help prep something. After a few minutes of awkward negotiation, she won him over with charm and a little knife-handling confidence. The chef reluctantly handed her an apron and stepped aside. As soon as she touched the ingredients, Liz came alive. Flipping, stirring, seasoning. It was like breathing again. She made a simple garlic butter shrimp over linguine with herbs, something she used to film in her apartment at 2 a.m. for her food blog. The chef tasted it first. His eyes widened. Did I pass? Liz asked. He nodded slowly. You could open a restaurant. She smiled. Not a bad idea. Meanwhile, across the city, Alex sat in his office at Tsu Group, fingers tapping against his desk. His mind for once was not on contracts or market shares. It was on his wife. She hadn't called today. Or sent any texts. No questions about dinner. No demands to have lunch together. No photos of a heart-shaped bento box. He should have been relieved. But the silence was unsettling. He scrolled through his messages and frowned. Not a single notification from her in 3 days. His assistant Noah Kim entered the office, flipping through a tablet. You asked me to update you on Mrs. Tsu? Alex straightened, caught off guard. I did. You said, and I quote, she's been acting strange. Look into it. So I did. Alex waved a hand. What did you find? She's been cooking. Alex blinked. Excuse me. Yeah. The kitchen staff said she's been using the main kitchen herself. Apparently she's pretty damn good at it. Alex narrowed his eyes. Why would she cook? Noah gave a lazy shrug. Maybe because she stopped waiting for you to show up at dinner? Alex stiffened. Noah cleared his throat. She also stopped following your social calendar, hasn't been at the country club, and canceled next week's art gala. Something's changed. Alex didn't answer. Noah smirked. You okay, boss? Alex stood, walking toward the window. His voice was low. She said something yesterday. Something strange. Noah raised an eyebrow. What? He said. I won't love you anymore. Noah let out a low whistle. Damn. I don't want you anymore. It happened the day before Liz entered the kitchen for the first time. Alex had returned home unexpectedly early from a board meeting. The rare sight of him in the mansion before midnight startled even the staff. Liz, freshly showered and wearing a simple house dress, was curled up on the living room couch with a book in hand. Not a fashion magazine but a cookbook. One filled with sticky notes and markings that the real Eliza must have once bought but never used. She looked up when she heard footsteps. Alex entered the room, removing his watch with a familiar flick of his wrist. His suit jacket was already off. His expression was unreadable as always, that mixture of indifference and mild disapproval that used to twist Eliza into knots. Liz just closed her book. You're home early, she said without any particular interest. His brows lifted faintly. You're not waiting by the door anymore. No, she said simply. Pause. He studied her, perhaps expecting a complaint, a question, or some subtle plea for his attention. Instead, she rose calmly and set the book down on the table. I've been thinking, she said, her voice soft but firm. I think I confused loving someone with needing to be needed. Alex said nothing. She took a breath. For 3 years I tried to make you love me. I smiled through silence. I convinced myself that your indifference meant something deeper. That one day you'd look at me and see me. Maybe you would have. Maybe you wouldn't. But it doesn't matter now. Something flickered in Alex's eyes. Barely. I'm not going to love you anymore, Alex. The words weren't bitter. They weren't angry. They were just true. She didn't flinch. She didn't cry. And that, more than anything, seemed to catch him off guard. I don't want you anymore, she added after a beat. Not like that. Silence stretched between them like a taut wire. His voice was low, controlled. Are you saying you want a divorce? She shook her head. No. I don't want anything. That's the point. She turned away and began walking toward the staircase. Have a good night, Mr. Tsu. And she left him standing there. Not with rage. Not with heartbreak. Just with confusion. Back at the mansion. Liz stood on the balcony outside her bedroom, the night breeze brushing her skin. Below, the city glittered like 1,000 tiny stars, but it felt a world away from her. She had cooked 3 meals today. Cleaned her own dishes. And for the first time since waking in Eliza's body, she felt like herself again. Al's table. That was what she had called her food blog back home. She still remembered every recipe by heart. I could start it again, she whispered to the wind. New world. Same food. No one in this society knew what a blog was, but this world had its own version. NetCloud, a semi-private video platform for hobbyists, musicians and chefs. Al's table could live again. She wouldn't chase Alex Tsu. Let him wonder. Let him question. Liz smiled into the night. It was her story now. And it was just beginning. Chapter 3. Goodbye Love, Hello Life. The morning sun crept through the French windows of the kitchen, casting a golden glow over the countertops. Liz stood in the middle of it all, tying her apron behind her back, her eyes set on a basket of fresh ingredients delivered just minutes ago. Eggs, herbs, milk, a bundle of green onions and a slab of marbled pork belly. This was all she needed to feel alive again. It had been only a day since she'd told Alex she didn't want him anymore. He hadn't said a word since. But that was fine. The silence no longer felt suffocating. It felt freeing. A soft rebirth. I'll need a quiet corner and a camera, Liz said to the head chef who still looked at her like she'd grown 2 heads. Are you planning to start a cooking channel? He asked, half joking. Something like that, she replied with a soft smile. Of course this world didn't have YouTube, but it had NetCloud. A rising platform where people shared skills, lectures, music or tutorials. Most of it was niche, buried under the influence of elite social circles, but Liz saw the opportunity. Al's table was coming back. Not with her face. Not yet. Just her hands, her voice and the food. With some help from the quietly impressed sous chef and a hidden laptop in the study, Liz recorded her first video that afternoon. It was simple: scallion pancakes with a garlic dipping sauce. Easy, nostalgic, comforting. She kept the camera trained on her hands, her sleeves rolled up, her voice light and instructive. "Don't rush the dough," she said. "Good food needs patience like people. If you force it, it falls apart." She smiled to herself, cutting the golden pancake into quarters. "Crispy on the outside. Soft on the inside. Just the way I like it." Later that night, the video went live on her newly made account, Al's Table. No profile picture. No real name. Just a tagline: "Cooking with care, one plate at a time." She didn't expect much. A handful of curious users, maybe a few hobbyists. But within an hour, the comment section began to bloom. "That voice. It's like butter on hot toast. Whoever this is, I'm in love. Please post more. The hand reveal? Slender fingers? That gold ring? Wife." Liz blinked at the screen. She had forgotten she was still wearing her wedding ring. Well, that would be confusing. Meanwhile, Alex sat in his study, reading the same paragraph 3 times without comprehension. Something was off. Eliza, no, Liz, he realized for the first time, had not spoken to him since that night. She passed him in the halls without flinching. She laughed once. Not at him, not with him. Just at something in her own mind. A private thought. He didn't know what it was. And that bothered him. Now Noah entered without knocking, holding his tablet up like a sword. "You're going to want to see this." Alex scowled. "Is this about the Milan contract?" "Nope. It's about your wife." The word wife hit harder than it should have. Noah turned the tablet around. On screen, a video played. A pair of graceful hands kneading dough, a delicate voice narrating gently, effortlessly drawing you in. Alex narrowed his eyes. "Who is this?" "That's what I said. But your kitchen staff confirmed it." "That's her." Alex stared. "She's cooking." "She's viral, Alex. Thousands of views. Half the comments are people calling her Queen, Chef Bae, or my digital wife." A muscle in Alex's jaw twitched. "What?" "Oh yeah. They're simping hard. Want me to read one?" "Here. That voice could end wars. Marry me." Another one says, asterisk, "Whoever her man is, he better know he won the lottery." Alex stood abruptly. Noah smirked. "So, you gonna start paying attention now?" Alex didn't answer. But the next day he showed up to dinner for the first time in months. An unwelcome guest. Liz was plating spicy sesame noodles with poached eggs when Alex entered the dining room. She blinked. He sat down across from her, unannounced. "What are you doing here?" she asked without edge, simply curious. "I live here," he said coolly. "You haven't had dinner here in over 6 months." "I changed my mind." She raised a brow and went back to her food. "Suit yourself." They ate in silence. He kept stealing glances. She didn't offer conversation. "You're not going to ask how my day was?" he asked suddenly. She gave a soft, amused huff. "You've made it clear that part of your life doesn't involve me. No need to pretend now." Alex looked down. "I saw your video." She paused. "And?" He studied her face. "Why didn't you ever show that side of yourself before?" "Because I was too busy chasing someone who never looked back." That shut him up. She stood, gathering her plate. "Thank you for joining me. But I'm tired." He stayed seated, eyes fixed on the spot where she just stood, a strange hollowness forming in his chest. Rise of Al's Table. By the end of the week, Al's Table had over 40,000 followers. People commented from all over the city. Students, housewives, chefs, even nobles who wanted the mystery chef to cater private events. Liz refused every invitation. She liked the privacy, the control, the freedom to show the world only what she chose to reveal. The fans begged her to show her face, but she wasn't ready. Not yet. This identity was hers, and hers alone. A hint of change. One night as she recorded a video on lavender honey toast, a knock came on her kitchen door. She paused the camera and opened it, to find Alex standing there, sleeves rolled up, holding a small potted herb plant. I thought you might want fresh time, he said. She stared. Then slowly took the pot. Thank you. He didn't leave. Can I help? No. He nodded, lingering anyway. She turned back to her station. Behind her, he sat on a stool and watched her work in silence. And for the first time, he noticed how peaceful she looked. Not because of him. Not for him. Just because she was finally herself. And that realization unsettled something deep inside him. Something he didn't yet understand. But he would. Chapter 4. Face Reveal. 3 weeks passed. 3 weeks of flower-dusted afternoons, quietly filmed recipe sessions, and surprise viral success. Elle's Table was now a full-fledged sensation. Her subscriber count had crossed 120,000. Her comments exploded with daily marriage proposals, theories about her identity and artwork, actual fan art, of her hands, her kitchen setup, even her voice. Still, Liz kept her face hidden. All videos were cropped just above her collarbone, sometimes showing her lips if she forgot to frame tightly. Until the night she slipped. The accidental reveal. It was an innocent clip. A 1-minute bonus video titled Late Night Banana Bread with My Pajamas On. Unscripted, casual. Her hair was in a loose bun. She wore no makeup. She yawned mid-mixing and looked directly into the camera for a second before realizing she hadn't adjusted the angle. Oops, she whispered. She considered deleting it. But instead, she uploaded it. That clip exploded. Within hours, it was trending on NetCloud's homepage. Wait, this is what she looks like? She's stunning even in pajamas? Okay, no wonder she sounds like a dream. She is a dream. Pajama wife supremacy. We have no choice but to stan. I am filing for a net marriage license. Her inbox flooded with interview requests and sponsor offers. She laughed. Genuinely. She hadn't felt this light in years. At the Tsu Corporation. Noah looked up from his phone, slightly pale. Alex. You should probably look at this. Alex glanced over from his desk. What is it now? Noah wordlessly played the banana bread clip. Alex's jaw clenched at the sight of Liz's face. Bare, soft, glowing with casual warmth. And then the comments rolled in. Wife material. She's married? To whom? Protect her at all costs. Alex's eyes darkened. She posted this when? 6 hours ago. And she didn't tell me. Noah raised a brow. Why would she? Alex didn't answer. He was already on his feet. Confrontation in the kitchen. Liz was frosting cupcakes when Alex entered the kitchen like a storm. You revealed your face, he said. I did, she said without looking up. He crossed his arms. You didn't think to tell me? She licked icing from her finger. I didn't think I needed permission. He exhaled. You know what people are saying about you? She chuckled. Yeah. For once, it's not that I'm desperate or pathetic. His gaze narrowed. They're calling you theirs. She finally looked at him. Why does that bother you? Because you're my wife. She tilted her head, smiling slightly. You told me not to expect anything from you, Alex. That this marriage was just paperwork. Or have you forgotten? He said nothing. She stepped closer. You don't get to lay claim now that someone else is looking. His voice dropped. No one else is touching you. But you don't want me. Right? She challenged, eyes clear and sharp. You said so yourself. The silence between them was electric. She stepped back. Don't worry. No one's touching me. I'm touching my own damn life now. And she turned back to her cupcakes, humming softly. Whispers in the shadows. By the following week, rumors swirled in the elite social circles. Who was the woman behind Elle's Table? Why did she wear a ring? Why did her kitchen look suspiciously like the Tsu's mansions? Liz ignored them all. But Alex didn't. He hired a team to monitor every comment section. He set digital flags for keywords like Eliza Tsu and Tsu's wife. He started rejecting business dinners in favor of lingering around the house, often sitting in the kitchen pretending to check his phone while watching her film. Once he even refilled her tea without being asked. Noah caught wind of it and laughed over coffee with the housekeeper. Poor guy, he said. He's in the trenches and he doesn't even realize it. The dinner party incident. Then came the breaking point. At an upper circle charity gala, a woman named Clarice Marin, known for her scandal blog, approached Liz. "You're prettier in person than on camera," Clarice said sweetly. "Shame your husband keeps you so hidden." Liz gave a polite smile. "He has his world. I have mine." "Oh honey," Clarice purred. "You are his world now. Haven't you noticed?" Before Liz could answer, a warm hand wrapped around her waist. "Alex." She froze as he leaned in and murmured, "Everything all right?" Clarice raised her eyebrows. "So the rumors are true. Al's table belongs to Mr. Tsu." Liz opened her mouth but Alex answered first. "Yes," he said. "She belongs to no one but she's mine." Gasps rippled quietly. Paparazzi snapped like sharks in the dark. Liz felt her breath catch. Not because of the scandal, but because for the first time in public, Alex claimed her. And it didn't feel like damage control. It felt real. Chapter 5. When the cold burns. Liz had spent her entire life wondering what it would feel like if Alex Tsu looked at her the way she looked at him. Now he was. And it terrified her more than when he didn't. He shows up everywhere. At first it was small things. Alex started eating breakfast at the table again. Always when she did. No questions asked. Just quiet chewing and the occasional refill of her tea or coffee. Then he began showing up during her video recordings, sitting in the background with a laptop open, watching her like she was a new language he was trying to learn. One night she was filming a garlic cream pasta tutorial when the power flickered and the kitchen dimmed. Before she could react, a flashlight beam lit her workspace. She turned to find Alex behind the camera, holding his phone up like a lighting assistant. "Didn't want you to stop," he said simply. She stared at him. He looked sincere. And it unsettled her more than any coldness ever had. The dream that shouldn't hurt. Liz couldn't sleep. She hadn't been able to since the gala. Since Alex wrapped his hand around her waist and called her his in front of an entire room of vultures. He'd said it so easily. So possessively. She wasn't sure if it was an act. Or worse, if it wasn't. One night she dreamed he kissed her. Not with heat or hunger, but with desperation. With apology. She woke up breathless and furious. Because it felt real. And because she wanted it to be. He starts to chase. "Can I take you to dinner?" he asked one evening, blocking her path in the hallway. She blinked at him. "We live together. We eat together. I mean out. Just us." "Why?" He hesitated. "I want to. You've wanted nothing from me for 3 years." "That was a mistake." She scoffed and moved past him. "No. That was clarity." But that night, when she sat alone in the media room editing her video, she saw the folder Alex had accidentally left open on his laptop. It was titled Liz's Recipes. Every single one she had uploaded. Downloaded. She closed the laptop with trembling hands. The bathroom door incident. Later that evening, Liz padded out of her room in slippers and a clay mask, humming lightly as she walked toward the bathroom. Just as she reached for the doorknob, click. The door opened from the inside. Alex stood there, towel around his neck, hair damp, a hint of steam curling behind him. She blinked. He blinked. "You're using this bathroom now?" she asked. He casually stepped aside. "Your shower pressure sucks. I had the plumber look at it." She narrowed her eyes. "You hate sharing bathrooms." "I don't mind anymore." She moved past him wordlessly, but his voice followed her inside. "You're not filming today?" She popped her head out, annoyed. "It's Sunday." "I could be your guest," he offered. "You burned onions last time." "I'm improving." "You're pestering." He smirked. "Is it working?" She gave him the driest look she could muster. "If your goal is to get ignored harder, yes." Alex chuckled and leaned against the doorframe. "I'll keep pestering." She shut the door in his face. He didn't even flinch. The pasta scene. She made spinach tagliatelle from scratch the next afternoon. It was a sunny day. The windows were open. Birds chirped somewhere in the garden. Alex appeared in the doorway, sleeves rolled, apron already tied. She raised a brow. "What are you doing?" I want to learn. He wanted to say no. Tell him to get out. Tell him she wasn't his latest project. But the look in his eyes, quiet, unsure, not the Alex Tsu the world knew, made her hesitate. Fine. Beat the eggs. Slowly. They worked in silence. He was clumsy. She teased him. He smiled, genuinely, without his usual smug armor. You've changed, she said quietly, not looking at him. I had to, he answered. I thought I didn't need love. I thought I didn't need you. He went still. And now? He looked at her, eyes dark and raw. How I burn every time you look away. The hesitation. That night, Liz stood at her vanity brushing her hair when Alex knocked. She didn't answer, but he came in anyway. He held something behind his back. What now? She asked. He walked closer, then gently placed a small white box in front of her. Inside it was a necklace, dainty, gold, with a single pendant shaped like a tiny cloche. Underneath, engraved in delicate script. Elle's table. I had it made, he murmured. I wanted you to know. I see you now. Not just as my wife. But as you. Liz's throat tightened. She closed the box slowly. You're 3 years too late, Alex. But her fingers lingered on the lid. The warning. Noah, watching all of this unfold from the sidelines, offered Alex a rare moment of brotherly advice. You think this is about big gestures, he said. But the girl who used to light candles at your bedside when you had a cold? She doesn't want your diamonds now. She wanted you then. Alex's jaw tensed. I'm giving her me. Now. Then pray she still wants you. The turning point. That weekend, Liz received an invitation to a national cooking competition hosted by the Royal Culinary Guild. Finalists would be filmed live. Audience votes. High exposure. Career launching. She almost declined. But Alex saw the email and encouraged her. You should go. You're already better than half their finalists. You think so? I know so. You didn't used to watch me. I'm making up for it, he said. She looked at him. Then let me go. On my own. He nodded. And for once he didn't try to control the outcome. Chapter 6. A Taste of Freedom. Liz had never seen so many cameras pointed at her. The smell of gourmet sauces filled the air. Stainless steel gleamed beneath studio lights. The grand set of Culinary Crown, the nation's most prestigious cooking competition, was buzzing with activity. And in the center of it all stood Elle, her screen name, her brand, her shield. But this time she wasn't just hiding behind a username. This time she was stepping forward. Going solo. Alex offered to come with her. Twice. No, she'd said gently but firmly. This is my space. I need to do it alone. He had looked like he wanted to argue. But in the end he only said, then I'll be watching. And he was. From the penthouse, the live broadcast flickered across the television screen while Alex sat motionless on the couch, phone in hand, ignoring every call. She stood there on set, wearing a simple navy apron and her signature half-smile. Contestant L, the host boomed, your challenge, elevate a classic comfort dish with a modern twist. You have 60 minutes. Go. The dish. Seared chicken adobo ravioli. It was a gamble. Mixing Filipino flavors with Italian technique could go wrong fast. But she'd done fusion before. And this dish meant something. It was her mother's recipe, her late grandmother's broth, her childhood in a single spoonful. She worked with precision. Mincing garlic. Searing marinated thighs. Rolling fresh dough so thin you could read the logo on the counter through it. The judges watched. The cameras zoomed in. At home, Alex leaned forward, elbows on his knees, captivated. She's fast, he murmured to no one. Noah passing by smirked. You sound proud. I am. She's doing fine without you. I know. And that bothers you? Alex didn't answer. He didn't have to. The viral moment. When Liz plated her dish, it wasn't flashy. No foam. No molecular tricks. Just 5 neat ravioli on a white plate, glossy with reduced adobo juice and topped with fresh micro cilantro. The first judge took a bite and went silent. Then he looked up, eyes wide. This tastes like my childhood. but better. The host grinned. We may be looking at a finalist, folks. Leah's hand trembled slightly as she bowed her head. The audience watching live began tweeting instantly. At Culinary Fangirl. Who is Elle? I want to marry her ravioli. At Spice Lord, I just fell in love with her voice. And hands. And plating skills. At Alcundahoon. Wait, why does she sound like Mrs. Tsu? Alex read them all. And when one comment called her my dream wife, something sharp twisted in his chest. He didn't know if it was jealousy. Well, he did know. And he hated it. The fans want more. After the episode aired, Liz's subscriber count doubled in 48 hours. Her inbox flooded with sponsorships, fan letters, and interview requests. Her name trended on national culinary boards. She didn't answer any of them, yet. She sat at her desk, fingers hovering over the keyboard. She should have been happy. She was happy. But when she looked up and saw the untouched dinner tray Alex had left by her door, something in her cracked. He was trying. In all the wrong, awkward, heavy-handed ways. But he was trying. And part of her wanted to let him. But another part whispered, don't lose yourself again. Alex's territory issues. A week later, Alex finally cracked. He showed up at her filming studio. Uninvited, unannounced, arms crossed and brow tight. I saw the comments, he said curtly. She didn't look up from her camera. Lots of people comment. One called you his wife. I am your wife. But you don't exactly act like a husband. That's changing. She tilted her head. Is it? You never used to ignore me. She sighed. You never used to see me. Alex took a step forward, eyes searching hers. I see you now. All of you. And I'm not the only one. She blinked. Do you want me to back off? Liz hesitated. Yes. Well, maybe. She finally whispered, I want you to mean it. That's all. Softening edges. The next night Liz came home late. Her hair was windblown. Her shoulders sore. She expected silence. Instead she walked in to find the table set. Alex stood there, sleeves rolled, apron on, holding a pan of overcooked risotto. He looked sheepish. I followed your video, he said. It didn't look like this when you did it. She stared. Then slowly she sat down. And ate every bite. Terrible, he asked. Passable, she lied. He smiled. He didn't. But her heart did. The message that changed everything. Later that night, Alex sat on the edge of their bed, staring at his phone. Then finally he typed. To Liz. You're incredible. Whether you come home to me or not. I'll be waiting. He never hit send. But she saw the draft the next morning, left open on his screen. And for the first time in years she cried. Chapter 7. The Taste of What If. The national competition finals were 2 weeks away. Liz should have been focused on her recipes, her prep, her technique. But her thoughts kept straying. To the man waiting for her in the house she once called a prison, and now wasn't sure if it was becoming a home. The draft message. She stared at the unsent text Alex had left open the night before. You're incredible. Whether you come home to me or not. I'll be waiting. It wasn't an apology. It wasn't a declaration. But it was the most vulnerable thing Alex had ever typed. For 3 years she begged for words like that. And now that she had them, even just in draft, she didn't know if she could trust them. Because when a cold man starts to thaw, it doesn't mean he won't freeze again. Noah's nudge. Do you still love him? Noah asked bluntly over coffee that morning. Liz looked up from her mug. That's not fair. It's a simple question. No, she lied. I don't. He arched a brow. You're lying. Liz sighed. Even if I did, love doesn't fix everything. No. But ignoring it won't either. She was quiet for a long moment before asking, is he really changing? Noah nodded. He's scared. Which for Alex is rare. And that usually means it matters. Alex's frustration builds. Every time Liz walked in, Alex straightened like a schoolboy waiting to be noticed. But she never gave him more than polite nods. One evening he tried to help her shoot a quick promotional video. Need help adjusting the mic? He asked, standing too close. I'm good. I can. I said I'm good, Alex. He flinched, not at her tone, but at how little space he occupied in her life now. When she finished the shoot, she found him in the kitchen, gripping the counter, jaw tight. You used to laugh at my stupid comments, he muttered. I used to love you blindly, she said. That version of me died the day you looked me in the eye and said you'd never love me. Silence. Then she added softly, she was foolish. But she also deserved better. The old notebook. That night Liz couldn't sleep. She opened a drawer, pulled out an old notebook. The one she used to write in during her first year of marriage. March 11th. Alex smiled at me today. Just once. I think it meant something. May 28th. He forgot my birthday. I made my own cake. Told him it was just a hobby. August 3rd. He said he doesn't want kids. Doesn't want me clinging. I smiled and told him I agreed. Then cried myself to sleep. He flipped to the back. March 2nd this year. I don't want to love you anymore. She closed the book and set it aside. But she didn't cry. Because this time her love wasn't a wound. It was a scar. And she could touch it without bleeding. The unexpected visit. 3 days before the finals, Liz returned from a rehearsal to find Alex in the living room, suit half undone, hair slightly messy, and a small travel bag by his feet. Going somewhere? She asked. He looked up. You are. She blinked. I booked you a retreat. Seaside. Quiet. Just for you. No cameras. No pressure. Why? Because you haven't rested in weeks. And I want you to know I believe in you. Not because you're my wife, but because you're you. She stared at him. Also, he added awkwardly, I'm not coming. Really? I thought giving you space might say more than another necklace. Liz didn't know what to say. So she just nodded. And left that weekend with too many thoughts in her suitcase. He sighed clarity. The waves were gentle. Liz sat on the deck of the beach house Alex booked, hot tea in her hand, the sea stretching endlessly in front of her. And for once her mind wasn't racing. She replayed it all, the pain, the longing, the rejection. But also the late-night pasta, the terrible risotto, the quiet glances, the draft message. And she realized something terrifying. She didn't just want Alex to love her. She wanted him to mean it. To fight for her not because she was convenient, but because she was irreplaceable. The text she finally sent. After 3 days of peace, she typed a message. You asked me once if I wanted you to back off. The answer is yes. If the only version of you that loves me is temporary. But if you're serious, if you're steady, if you're ready to love me with no exit strategy, then I'll come home. She hit send. No games. No guarantees. Just truth. Chapter 8. The Taste of Home. Liz didn't expect to cry when she stepped through the front door. But there was. The soft light in the hallway. The faint scent of cedar and lemon. And at the end of it, Alex, standing barefoot in a black sweater and gray joggers, holding her old apron in one hand like he had no idea what to do with it. He looked up. His eyes met hers. She dropped her bag. He didn't move. Neither did she. Until he whispered, You came home. No more pretending. Liz closed the distance slowly, her heart thudding in her chest. I'm here, she said. But not for the same reasons as before. I know. I'm not the girl who begged you to love her. I know that too. She paused in front of him. I won't ask again. You don't have to, Alex said, voice hoarse. He set the apron aside. Liz, I don't know how to do this the right way. I didn't grow up with warmth. With softness. You scared me. I never meant to. You didn't. But you made me want things I didn't understand. And instead of learning how to reach for you, I pushed you away. She swallowed hard. But I get it now, Alex continued. I want you, all of you. And I want to be worthy of the version of you that came back. Liz's lip trembled. And what if I leave again? I'll follow, he said. Every time. This. She didn't know who leaned in first. But suddenly, his hand was at the nape of her neck, thumb grazing the curve of her jaw as if memorizing her again. And then his lips were on hers. Soft. Certain. No rush. No desperation. Just irreverence. It wasn't their first kiss, not technically. But it was the first time they both meant it. It was the first time she felt wanted, not just claimed. He deepened it slowly, drawing her closer, his free hand curling around her waist like she might disappear if he let go. When they broke apart, her forehead rested against his, breath shaky. "I missed you," he whispered. She smiled. "You never really had me. Can I have you now?" She laughed, light and bright like the woman she had grown into. "Ask me again," she teased, "after you win a cook-off with me." "Oh," Alex said, eyes sparkling for the first time in years. "You're on." 1 year later. The screen blinked to life and thousands of fans tuned in live. The nation's favorite surprise couple. Liz stood beside Alex in a modern kitchen, 2 aprons, 1 pan, and a spicy love ramen challenge that had the internet in a chokehold. "Remember," Liz said into the camera, "this man once burned rice." "Twice," Alex corrected smugly. She rolled her eyes. "And he kissed her cheek." The comments exploded. At fan account 121. "If they break up, I'm deleting the internet." At Ramen for Life. "Mr. Tsu is a golden retriever now? I'm so confused." At Al Cooks Best. "This is love. Shul's stupid spicy love." Alex leaned close and whispered, "I love you." Liz's heart, once bruised and guarded, stretched wide. "I love you too." The third life. Liz always thought she was just a reader. A girl who fell asleep with a half-finished book in her hands, and woke up in a strange, beautiful, painful world that wasn't hers. But she was wrong. It was always hers. Fragments of memory. It started with flashes. A mirror she didn't recognize. A child's voice calling her sister, though she had no siblings. The scent of lilies blooming in a garden she'd never seen. And then one night, after her livestream with Alex, after the fans logged off and the lights dimmed, she opened her eyes in a dream. Only this time it wasn't a dream. It was a memory. The first life, the girl of Springlight Temple. She saw herself, barefoot in a robe of pale silk, hair tied with golden thread. She was a priestess, beloved by the people, hidden in a temple where no man could enter. But one had. A warrior. Cold-eyed. Wounded. She'd healed him, fallen for him, and died for him when he betrayed her for a throne. Her soul had fractured then, marked by love that had never been returned. The second life, the wife who waited. Then came the world she thought was fiction. The young bride who begged her husband to see her. The girl who tried so hard to be enough. She lived 3 years loving him without return. And only when she hit her head, and Liz's modern consciousness awakened, did the pain finally stop. But now she knew. She wasn't just a transmigrator. She was returning. Each life she tried to love someone who wasn't ready. Each life she waited to be chosen. But in this third life, her life now, she chose herself first. And that changed everything. In the mirror. Liz stood in front of her vanity, heart pounding, eyes wide. "I've been me, all along," she whispered. The versions of herself, priestess, bride, blogger, blended together in her reflection. Different timelines. Same soul. And Alex had been there too. The warrior. The cold field. The man who finally chose her back. "Maybe," she murmured, "we've been trying to find our way to each other, across lifetimes." Alex entered quietly, sensing the shift in the air. "What's wrong?" he asked. He turned to him. "Do you believe in fate?" He tilted his head. "I believe in you." She smiled softly. "Then I'll tell you someday. About the girl I used to be. The lives I've lived. The love I lost. And the one I finally kept." He came closer. "I'm listening. For as long as you'll have me." Liz touched his face. "Then maybe this time I get to be the one who lives." The final line. A soul returned. A love reclaimed. And a life finally lived.